Welcome back to What is Climate Change and What Can I Do About It? This is episode 9, and following on from what we talked about with electricity bills in episode 8, obviously if you look at any home, there's sort of basically 5 ways where you need to use energy, and one is to cool, to heat, it could be for your lights, for hot water, and for appliances. And so if we just look at those 5 areas, but before going into that, just look at the 2 really critical areas is cooling and heating. And if we have a home that's like passively resisting the heat transfer from whether it's heat to get into the house or heat to get out of the house, we're going to spend a lot less time shoveling it in, shoveling it out in the case of summertime, or shoveling heat back in the winter time. So it's all about, in a sense, that if we want to cut down on our carbon emissions, can we make our home passively a passive place for cooling and heating, in the term they use. So but I've done hundreds of home assessments, and I've seen some really obvious things, like drafts under the doorways, just cutting out drafts. It just makes such a huge impact. You use those door jam things and the seals around the door you can buy. I've walked into apartments and houses and kids' rooms on the west side in the summertime, and there's nothing to stop the heat of the sun coming through. Even to put up curtains, the reflective curtains that for those types of rooms. But better still, don't let the heat get through the glass. So get some shading, deciduous trees maybe, with the leaves in the summer and no leaves in the winter time, or awnings or things like that make such a huge impact. Insulation is obviously in the roof first, but there are, depending on the type of house, other places you can put insulation, the floor especially, in some high houses off the ground and things like that. So there's insulation, and there's a number of things you can do, and rather than squeeze it all into this particular episode, we'll put up on our website a list of things you can do from a passive cooling and heating perspective. And also, if you're planning on a new build, this is where you got the opportunity to get the right orientation, you got the chance to use the right materials, the right glazing. The heat transfer through glass is relatively easy through full mill glass, which most houses have in place. So we'll list that on our website. But passive cooling and heating is something you should focus on, and there's some really simple things you can do to stop the heat transfer, especially shading, especially cutting out drafts and things like that.